Hello everybody, my name is Sachin Bhandari and you're watching the Story Tours YouTube channel. In this video, I am going to narrate the story of a Bengali Mithai brand's Bengaluru connection. Now, towards the end of the video, I will also share communication or a storytelling tip which you can use for your business or for your professional career. But that tip is going to be inspired by the story. So stay till the end of the video so that you get to take something away that you can use in your communication. So let's get on with it and let's travel from Kolkata to Bengaluru. So stay with me on this ride. So back when I was in college, it was a few years ago. I used to walk around Bangalore a lot, and that time I used to come across these dessert brand shops or the Mithai brand shops called KC Das. Now I was always fascinated, why is a Bengaluru or a Bengali brand so popular in Bengaluru? Now at that time I was in college, I had so many things on my mind. I really never got the chance to go and find out the answer. I found the answer, though I wasn't looking for it, very recently when I was reading this book called Longing and Belonging in Kolkata. Or Longing and Belonging, an outsider at home in Kolkata by Bishwanath Ghosh. Fascinating book. It tells you a lot about the city of joy. You must read it if you're interested in the city. But that is the book where I found out that there was this gentleman called Nobin Chandra Das or Nobinda, who started a sweetmeat shop or a shop of sweets back in 1866 in a small place called Sutanuti. Now, Sutanuti eventually went on to and became the city called Kolkata. That's almost like the origin place of Calcutta. So that's where he started the shop, and his brand of sweetmeats were really popular. People used to love his sweets, but he was also the inventor of the Rosogulla, or at least that's what KC Das claims, right? Now, his Rasogulla was so famous that it caught on, and other people's also tried to copy it or make the same kind of rasgullas that Nobinda used to make. But Rabindranath Tagore, you know, the literary giant, the poet, the soul of Bengal, he used to understand whether a particular rasgulla is from Nobinda's shop or not just by a few nibbles. That's how popular and that's how tasty his rasgullas were. Now, Nobinda's successors, you know, his sons and later his grandsons, they have many firsts to their credit. So they wanted to build a global brand, and I think they've partly achieved that. You find Rasogullas by KC Das in airport stores across the world. The same way, they were also able to build a brand which is not just about Rasogulla but a lot of other sweets as well. So a lot of firsts to their credit, but there's an interesting story of how this particular brand, which I think should have been very popular in Kolkata, right, became a brand which is slightly more popular or probably a lot more popular in Bangalore. There was this gentleman called Sharda Charan Das. He was the grandson of Nobinda, and he named this particular brand after his father. That's why it's called KC Das and not called Nobindas or, you know, something else, or not NC Das. And in 1965, Sharda Charan faced a dilemma. In 1965, the West Bengal government came with something called the Milk Control Order. Basically, what it meant is that the commercial use of milk was regulated so as to make sure that expectant mothers and young kids got enough milk and there was no shortage of milk for them. Now, if you know, most Bengali sweets, including sandesh and everything else, use milk, and that is why KC Das had to shut all of its shops. So I think they had about 6-7 stores in the city, except one which was also retailing savories. So Sharda Charan now was faced with this question about what to do with his business. Eventually, of course, the milk control order was taken off and milk was more freely available for commercial use, but still Sharda Charan felt that, you know, this particular problem can keep arising over and over again in West Bengal. So he decided to take his business elsewhere. Now, when he was faced with this particular question, it was Bangalore which won out because of the fact that there was good quality milk available in Karnataka, and the working class or the labor class of Karnataka and Bangalore, the city, were a lot better. or had better quality. So that is why he moved his business from Kolkata to Bengaluru. Over a period of time, Bangalore became more important for KC Das than Kolkata itself. Back when the book was written in 2014, I'm talking about Longing and Belonging, Kolkata used to make about 30,000 Rasogullas on a daily basis, while Bangalore used to make 45,000. Now, most of the Rasogullas which were made in KC Das in Kolkata, they were all put into cans. So they were canned, right? Which meant essentially that they were going outside of Kolkata. But the Bangalore ones, the small minority of them were put into cans. The rest of them were actually sold loose in their shops, which meant that KC Das's Rasogullas became more famous in Bangalore than in Kolkata. And there's an interesting take on that as well. If you ask a lot of Bengalis, they will tell you that KC Das's Rasogullas are not that great after all. It's something that you enjoy only if you are a non-Bengali or you are a Bengali who is not in Bengal. So there are a lot of Bengalis who buy from KC Das only because they don't have an option. And of course, non-Bengali people enjoy those sweets because they consider them to be good. Now, I don't know about the taste of the Rasogulla, so I'm not making a judgment on whether the Rasogullas are good or not. I'm sure they are in a way, because otherwise, how would you build such a great brand? If you want to know a communication tip which is linked to this particular story, stay with me. Don't go away. I'm just about to come back with the communication tip. Like every video in this one, I have a communication tip for you as well. So it's not necessarily just about writing or speaking something. It's also about finding out and being able to present a better story. So in that case, the tip for today is look for an anomaly, right? Anomaly is when something happens which breaks the pattern, which is different, which is something that you do not expect, etc., etc. That's why the story of a Bengaluru Bengali Mithai brand being popular in Bangalore is an anomaly. And when you investigate, you realize that there's an interesting story behind it. And that's what happens whenever there's an anomaly. Let's say it's your industry, it's your place of work, it's a research, etc., etc. If you find any anomaly and narrate the story behind it, then you will be able to showcase yourself as an expert or somebody who knows more about the topic. And at the same time, you will also be able to build a good connection with your audience. So for instance, let's say that you are a pet care startup founder and you want to narrate the story of pets and how big the industry is going to be. You could talk about how increasing number of urban couples are choosing not to have kids, and they need to be able to go ahead and feel loved or share their love with somebody, and that's where pets come into play. And that's why as the world goes by and time goes by and more couples are childless, they will adopt pets, and hence pets industry as an industry is going to be a really big one in the future. So you need to identify an anomaly, a difference in trend. You can apply this in many different ways, whether you're doing research, whether you're sharing a presentation, an investor pitch deck, whether you're talking to employees, like I said. So go ahead and try this out. I'm sure you will enjoy finding out the story behind the anomaly, but also narrating it to your audiences. That's it from me in this video. Like I always say, Storyco is a storytelling coaching and training firm. We deconstruct good storytelling models into easy to replicate ones, and we work with founders and leaders either through coaching or through training to be able to help them connect better with their audiences with the power of stories. Now, if you have any questions about storytelling, about this particular story, or about the tip that I shared, please feel free to let me know in comments. Me or one of my colleagues will definitely answer your question as soon as we can. That's it from me in this video. I'll see you in the next one pretty soon. Bye-bye.